We've made it to lucky week 13 of the NFL season. I'm Jay. I'm with Joel and Dave, and we're here to break down the NFL DraftCast. We're going to go game by game for the entire slate on Sunday. We enjoyed our Thanksgiving. We ate, but we were looking to cash some lineups, make some runs. I had a pretty good week 12, had a pretty good Thanksgiving slate. Happy about both of those. If Hunter Henry did not get that touchdown call back, still salty about that. Had him in my big lineup, and that second touchdown would have moved me up even higher on the leaderboards. But that's in the past. Let's move forward to the future, and let's break down, every single game on the main slate. And before we do that, Joe, man, how you feeling? You had a Thanksgiving. How's the fam? We haven't talked in a couple of days, so just checking in on you, making sure everything's okay, bro.
I'm good. I'm excited to keep the DFS train rolling this season. I really am intrigued. I know we talked a lot last week about your Rainmakers cards in your lap. I heard you came pretty close. I got excited. I'm looking to get involved.
I'll teach you, bro. I'll teach you the way of the NFTs and the Rainmakers. Look, there's definitely an edge. I'm going to, it's week 13. I can let the secret out. There's definitely an edge in there to get involved, and it's fun, man. I actually enjoy it, man, because I don't feel like I buy a lot of cards, but I'm not like risking stuff. So even if I have a bad week, like I've already spent my money from like weeks past, it's not like I'm losing money. And typically every time I've gone into a week, I make some money because it's all profit. I view it as all profit, and it's kind of been offsetting any bad weeks I've had, on a DFS side of things. So Dave, man, how you feeling? How's everything going? Eagles looking pretty good right now. Sixers, but Eagles looking good.
Yeah, no, great. Thanksgiving was a really good week. So was week 12 Sunday. Just been grinding here. Had a good DFS with college football this last weekend. So I want to just keep that momentum. No huge hits, but enough to really profit. So I think the stuff that we're doing here, and when we're starting, and Joel always says it, we're starting to get a feel for the season. Now we really have that feel, and these are the weeks. We only have a few left. It's making me sad that we gotta capitalize, right? And speaking of capitalizing, yeah, the Eagles did on Sunday night, but man, they might have done it at a price. We'll have to see. Losing our safety is a big hit. CJ Gardner-Johnson.
You guys are, a lot of people in the NFL are getting hurt week by week by week. Aaron Rodgers went down. We saw a little bit of Jordan Love. And it's going to change from week to week, man. So we got to kind of break down this slate, update everybody on all the news. Look, there's a Thursday night game, Bills and Patriots. Should be a close game. I think the Bills should cover here. I kind of like them as a bet. If you're looking to make a bet on Thursday night. Look, I know all of America is probably going to be on Buffalo outside of everybody who lives in New England here. But the Bills need to step up. They've been a little bit shaky. But let's talk about this main slate. The first game of the slate. Joel, you can break it down for us. Steelers and the Falcons here. We're going to do our two and pass, go through each of these games before we do our DraftCast. So, Joel, kick us off here.
So, I was finally starting to like Najee Harris. I was like, maybe he's coming around, he's getting healthy, and then he gets hurt. So
that lasted like a half, maybe? A half of a half?
Exactly. You didn't even get a full game. He was finally coming around. But you know what? I think there's always going to be value going up against this Atlanta defense. They're very weak. Pittsburgh's got two receivers that can have a big day in Johnson and Pickens. I like both of them, and I'll like whoever ends up being the running back. But right now, there's just not a lot of clarity in that backfield.
I hear you on that, man. I had to pick up some Benny Snell shares in season long. Don't feel so good about that. But Dave, Washington Commanders, New York Giants. I'm assuming you want both these teams to lose. That can't happen, though. One of these teams have to win here. So, your NFC East battle is just going week by week, and Washington's getting stronger. We'll see what happens here. But what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, all 4 teams, if it ended today, if the season ends today, and the NFC East would make the playoffs. It's kind of a crazy thought, especially with the way the Commanders are starting to play. They've definitely surged up in the standings. And Giants are kind of hanging on by a thread, mainly because they're banged up. And things are starting to be a little unsettling. You know, Dayball is blowing up every week now. It was cute early. Now it's a little, I mean, is he doing too much? But what I'll say about this game from a DFS perspective, stay away. If I'm going to touch anything, it might be a little B-Rob, but it's not going to be much more. I mean, I guess I could. McLaurin against the Giants banged up secondary is probably a good target, but I just don't think there's a lot of value in a game that's going to probably end in the high teens to low 20s.
Yo, quick word, man. Tell Dave the Giants are good, man. Tell them they're
Good.
playoff bound. Tell them Saquon is coming back. You know, 1 second here. Talk about your Giants, bro.
The Giants are fine. The injuries right now are a little concerning. They just have a ton of injuries, right? And there's a lot of them. If this O-line gets healthy, and not even fully healthy, right? Like, you just can't be missing 4 starters. Any team can't really survive missing 4 starting O-linemen. But if they get relatively healthy, the Giants as home dogs this week is just straight up disrespectful. I think there's a big question mark on who they're playing, which is maybe why that's the line. But if they have just 75% of their starters, I'm definitely rolling the Giants taking the points.
Joe, keep the train going here. Packers, Bears. Is Aaron Rodgers back? Is Justin Fields back? Do we have confirmation? It's early in the week. It's Wednesday night here in New York. What's your thoughts? Does Rodgers play? Does Fields play? How does the game play out? If they play, if they don't play, any love here?
From a DFS perspective, not much. This doesn't seem like a great DFS environment to target. I do like taking the Bears in the points here. I think 4.5 points, a division rivalry. The Bears have shown some improvement. I still don't think the Packers are all the way there. I think the Packers have some way to go. People are still overrating them because of Rodgers. So I will be looking for the Bears in the points, but from a DFS perspective, I'll probably be staying away.
Are you thinking that both Rodgers and Fields play at this point? If you had to make it back, are they both playing this weekend?
I don't know as much. I feel like Fields is more likely of the two. But if I had to bet on it, I think Rodgers is a coin flip, and I'm leaning toward he will play.
All right, let's talk about one of the best quarterbacks in the league. His name is Mike White. It's funny, man. They looked a lot better. So happy just for the organization and the fan base not to see Wilson anymore, for the Jets. And you can see he slides right in the rain, and has a pretty impressive stat line, passing game. Mike White, 5.4 on DraftKings. Kind of interesting. Now, I was the biggest Jets hater here as far as, getting shares of this offense for DFS. But, look, when Garrett Wilson is priced at 5.3, Elijah Moore at 3.7 here, they become interesting. We need to figure out what's going on with Michael Carter here. I'm not saying the Jets are going to win this game, but you can definitely score points on the Vikings. And with Wilson out, I think this is a very cheap stack for GPPs only, not for, your cash games. I wouldn't line up Mike White in cash games, but, Wilson's it's the first time I've seen his price tag over 5K, but it's still 5.3. Dude's been really good the entire year. So I'll have some shares of Wilson and Elijah Moore. This is the most confident I've felt, rostering a Jet. I played some Wilson last week, taking a chance, but this is a better matchup against the Vikings. Now, the Jets defense is probably top 5 in the league, man. Salah's got these kids playing really well defensively. Offense is coming around. Nobody's going to shut down Justin Jefferson. So if I was to play somebody on the Vikings side, it would be Jefferson. But I do respect this Jets defense. So unless I'm game stacking this game, probably going to fade most of Minnesota and have a couple shares of the Jets here. Dave, back to you. This is the game you've been waiting for all year long, man. You must have penciled this the offseason. Deshaun Watson going back to Cleveland. I'm hearing, I don't know correct terms, but the people he took advantage of, the accusers. Yeah. I was going to say accusers, but I feel like they're not accusers. It's actually legitimate. So I don't know if they're really accusers, but let's not get into that. They're going to be in attendance. Brissett's coming off a game where he beat Brady, and Watson just gets the job back. It's a good matchup here, but it's so odd that he's coming back in Houston, which is just weird how it all plays out with the schedule. Are you taking shots anywhere here on the Browns? The Texans are just toast here, but the Browns might have some interest.
Yeah, I mean, dream matchup for Nick Chubb. That's really what it is. You're going against the 32nd ranked rush defense as it pertains to yards, 30th DVOA. So Chubb is fully in play and probably one of the top running backs on the slate this week. And yes, it could get a little chalky, but I'm not worried about it because I don't think you just sit here and just let Watson fire away. I just think you just try and get out of here with a grind amount win. You're coming off that momentum victory against Tampa. I think you rely on Chubb, you rely on him, and you mix in Watson. I'll still play some DPJ. I still have faith in him. He didn't have the biggest game last week, but I think we can still get there with Peoples-Jones. I know Cooper is balling, so I could see him getting back in play as well, but 1,500 less, I like DPJ. And on the other side, I'm out on everything that could be Texans, even though the Cleveland defense is terrible. It was bad last week. Really, really bad. In fact, I was tweeting out how bad it was that, they took 2 out in the middle of the third. Like, they thought the game was over, and then they had to, hold on a little bit. But that McDaniels is a joke as a coach, and that's for another show. But, yeah, it's Cleveland, no Houston.
Dave, I'm not going to let you off that easy. Titans, Eagles, next game on the slate. This should be a tough matchup for the Eagles. Total here is 44.5. It's going to be a slow down game. Derrick Henry coming into Philly. Your thoughts here on Jalen, A.J. Brown stacks, or maybe some Devontae. Miles Sanders looked good, even though everybody got the scare early that he wouldn't be the first guy in the end zone. Every running back for the Eagles just scores touchdowns. So, it's just a merry-go-round here. But your thoughts here with a tougher matchup against Vrabel?
Yeah, and I'll answer Asian Shorty. Chubb make him a contrarian play. The price, yeah, absolutely. I get it. Don't get me wrong, but every lineup that wins definitely has someone that's contrarian or chalky. So just keep an eye. I'm not sure it's going to be Chubb this week. It's Wednesday, but right now, if I had to put my money on it, he's going to be close to one of those guys that I think could carry. But from the Titans-Eagles perspective, it's Henry, it's A.J. Brown, and I really think it's going to be a heavy pass game from the Eagles. Titans are pretty good defensively with their rush defense, but look, it's the return. It's A.J. Brown playing his old team, right? And he feels like he had an interview today where he said, hey, he feels like he's the one that won this one, getting out of Tennessee and getting to Philadelphia, getting to play with his boy Jalen. So I think it's a big day for the passing game. 350-plus rushing yards doesn't happen again. You don't play Packers every week. But Henry will have a big game as well. Eagles still have an issue up front. Jordan Davis doesn't look like he's back. It's going to be a 40-degree day here in Philly on Sunday. It's going to be a slow game, like you said. But I like A.J., and I like Henry.
Probably my favorite game on the slate on an early look here. Jacksonville versus Detroit. Trevor Lawrence looked good late last week. Jared Goff playing at home. I'm on Ross St. Brown. Thank you, DraftKings. Keep on pricing him at 7.1. He should be in that upper echelon, but anytime he's under 7.5, he's definitely worth a look. Now you got a matchup against the Jags at home in a dome. Climate control. Don't got to worry about anything. I'll go back to the well with Zay Jones, man, 4.9. I will have shares of Christian Kirk. I'll have shares of ATN. I don't know what to do about Jamal Williams, to be honest with you, or DeAndre Swift. I will have some shares if I'm not going to the passing attack, but I'm on Ra, probably one of the best plays on the slate, and then taking a shot, like I said, on Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, ATN, Lawrence stacks in play, Goff stacks in play. Look, you're getting into December here. You're getting into cold weather. And you get the value of a dome and 2 bad defenses, probably one of the highest totals on the slate, 51.5. There will be points scored in this game. Make sure you get the right pieces from Detroit and Jacksonville. Check us out at WinDailySports.com. We have projections up. We have lineup optimizers. We have articles. We have an expert chat. It's only Wednesday. So we'll be chatting these games up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, into Sunday morning. We have another live stream Sunday at 11 a.m., but you want to hop in that expert chat, check out our projections. We'll showcase them when we do our DraftCast in a minute, but this game will be a game that I'm assuming we'll all be fighting for, for players here. So one of the better games on the slate. Joe, I know you want Russell Wilson shares, bro. I know you want those. They're going to Baltimore here. They're projected to score 15. Can they score 15, Joe? That's the question. Can the Broncos score 15 points?
Absolutely not. They are atrocious. This is the worst. This is going to go down as one of the worst trades ever in the NFL. They are so
contract too, like worst contracts ever.
Yeah.
Because they're stuck with him. They're stuck with him for 4 years, and it looks so bad in year one. It's like the Broncos could only wish they had Mike White on the bench, that they could just kind of filter in there for Wilson and somehow make something of this. But they're in bad shape. So with him running the helm in this offense, it's pretty close to untouchable. I mean, the only guy that maybe I would consider is I like Dulcich, their tight end, because he's pretty cheap and he seems to be a weapon that they like. That he gets a level looks for the price, but I'm only playing someone on this offense because they're really cheap.
Yeah, Lat Murray maybe. What about the Baltimore side here? I know Denver's defense is pretty good, but they're getting scored on too here. I think they're just giving up on Russell Wilson. They're like, F this guy. I really don't care about my stats anymore if this guy's doing what he's doing. Any love for Jackson Stacks, or the Broncos defense is too good?
Yeah, the Broncos defense is good. It's not like a great spot, but I do think there's some guys you can play. I'm okay with playing Andrews, right? He's kind of matchup proof. Like he can go off any week. He's their number one receiver at a position where there's only maybe 3 guys max that are even capable of going off any given week. So Andrews is always in play. Outside of that, I'm probably not too interested.
Dave, it's another day, so you get to talk about McDaniels.
No.
You can have your 30-second rant on McDaniels. You can have your rant on Tua, the Niners. There's no Elijah Mitchell, so I guess we're not playing McCaffrey. We're not playing Mitchell. Where does this game go? First, you're one of the sharpest guys I know from a betting perspective. Who wins this game? Who's the better team here? And then talk about your McDaniels call and your DFS plays.
And don't forget where McDaniels came from, right? He's off the Kyle Shanahan tree. This is where he came from. He came from San Francisco. So this is going to be a big game from that perspective. But I think the teacher teaches the pupil. And I do think San Fran is the lean here. They're really starting to come on. Now they are the NFC favorite to be represented in the Super Bowl. They've overtaken the Eagles. And rightfully, for a little bit, coming from Eagles fan, rightfully so, just from the way they're starting to get into shape. They're really good defensively. They pressure you from every angle. And this is the worst type of team Tua can play. Last week, the Texans sacked him 5 times in 2.5 quarters. They don't protect him. He's out there getting exposed. The guy threw for 37 times in the first half when he was up 30-0. And versus the worst ranked rush team in the league. He doesn't care about Tua's health. I don't see a way he protects him this week. I like San Francisco. And that's why I really fear what Mike McDaniels is doing back there. I think he's a comedy act. Like there's something about him. Like you see him on the sideline.
He doesn't look real. He's like the total opposite of an NFL coach. He doesn't look like he should be out there. Maybe like coaching like PAL basketball or something like that, but not NFL football.
And you know why they took Tua out in this? Because he got sacked 5 times. And they're like, all right, that's it. We're up 30-0. I just got him sacked 3 times in the third quarter when I'm up 30-0. All right, I'll protect him now. Come on, man. And then you almost lost the lead. All right. But anyway, I like San Fran in this game. And if you're looking at, I think you are going to get a good game environment. I think Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle really are active versus a bad pass defense. And on the other side, San Fran's not very good in the secondary. I think Tyreek can still have a big game. They're just going to have to get the ball out quick because that defensive front is fierce.
Yeah, you got a revenge game for Jeff Wilson. He's definitely going to be in play.
What happened last week?
I don't know what happened last week. I think it was so easy for them just to score that they just let them score. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Wilson should have definitely found a way to get in the end zone more than one time. But Tyreek, Debo, Ayuk. There's going to be scoring in this game, so this will be another game that we're going to want to get shares of. Now we're getting to another tough game to really see any action in. Joel, have you ever seen a team win a Super Bowl and look like trash the next year? Like never have a shot to even look good for like a hot second. Like maybe like one game they looked okay. Jalen Ramsey started talking some shit, and then it just completely they fell through the floor and they can't do anything right. And it's gonna be bad for the rest of the season here. They got nobody. They literally this is the worst offense. I don't know how they're projected to score more points than the Broncos. That's how bad the Broncos are. They're projected to score 17. But maybe some love for Geno and the Seattle Seahawks here.
Well, actually, one of my favorite plays of the week at a position is on the Rams this week.
Oh no! Who?
Rams
Williams?
defense, just because they're so cheap. I mean, you could get them for free, and their defense isn't bad, and they're good enough to get you a few points, but really, they're just too cheap for the team that has the best player in the league and Aaron Donald. I think I'm okay. I like going to the Rams defense. They're probably going to be trying to play low scoring games, which could be a good kind of game script for them. But yeah, I mean, they're terrible as a team. I wouldn't play anyone on offense, but for this week, for the price tag, I think the defense is okay.
Watch out for Kyron Williams. I think he's their guy now. They cut Henderson, right?
There's gonna be the only problem with that running back there. There's really no touchdown equity where you know they might not score a touchdown the entire game, and you really need your running back to go out there and break off 80-yard runs in OT like Josh Jacobs did last week. I don't know where that came from, but someone posted a tweet like all those running backs are like, all right, they keep dropping to me in season long. The Miles Sanders, the Josh Jacobs, like if you just happen to click that button, all right, I'll take Josh Jacobs, I guess. I'll take Miles Sanders, I guess. You're feeling pretty damn good right now, and this should be a really good matchup for Jacobs. Playing at home again. Raiders still playing meaningful football right now. Cars look better. Devontae's look better. It's pretty much focused between Jacobs, Carr, Devontae, and some Matt Collins. If you want to throw a Foster Moreau, go ahead. I think there's better spots out there. But we know those 3 or 4 pieces for the Raiders are the pieces to go to. Now, on the backside of things, Herbert is in a great spot. Eckler, great spot. I just don't know yet. Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, Everett, how they're kind of sprinkling the shares there. And I'm sure, we'll be drafting some of these guys because they're cheap. We're going to be doing our DraftCast shortly here. They're all cheap, as far as the passing attack on the Chargers, 6.5, 5.6, 4.4 for the Chargers. So this is going to be an interesting game to break down. We'll pull up our projections, our optimizer at windailysports.com while we're doing our DraftCast to kind of get a sneak peek. Like I said, it's Wednesday, but this will be a game we'll be targeting. One game that got me pissed off last weekend, I thought I nailed it, Joe. I take Pacheco to score 1 touchdown at plus money. I had Pacheco to score 2 touchdowns at plus 600. And dude had like 20 snaps inside the 10. He little guy just could not get it in the end zone the second time. But it's being a little greedy here. But Joe, what's your thoughts here, man? The Chiefs looking pretty damn good. They're going against the Bengals on the road. This might be one of like the tighter games for the Chiefs as of late. 52.5 total here. Should be fireworks. We probably see Jamar Chase back. Maybe see Joe Mixon back. And then maybe see your boy Kadarius Toney back for the Chiefs. Who are the guys that you're really looking at here, as far as your stacks go? Because it's going to be a popular game as well.
Finally, you gave me a game to talk about.
Okay, go. I'll take a rest. Go.
This game is going to be fireworks. This is the game to look at. I think this is one of those opportunities I'm looking at as if you don't load up on this game, it's going to be the 4 o'clock window where like you might be looking good and you didn't have anyone in this game, and then all of a sudden you're falling apart because it's going to be explosive. I'm going to get as much exposure as I can. Higgins, I think Chase is back this week. I like Chase in this spot. Burrow looks good. And then, of course, this Chiefs team is explosive. The go-to guy for me is Kelsey. One of the reasons I said earlier, you really only have an opportunity to get an explosive spot here from 2 or maybe 3 tight ends max. So you can get an explosive game and fill in the rest of your roster elsewhere. I think this is a great spot for Kelsey where they're going to be in a close game that's going back and forth. They'll keep going to him. But I love Pacheco again. I mean, they're really feeding him the ball at 22 carries. To get him in the 5K range seems underpriced in this really, really great environment.
Joe, one question, though. When you see all these guys in Cincinnati, if everybody is active, Chase is active, both Higgins, Boyd, Hayden Hurst involved. He was my favorite tight end going into last week. Mixon is back. And the same thing with Kansas City. Like, do you really feel confident that outside of Kelsey, can you say with any kind of conviction that this is the guy you really want if you're just making one lineup, with a Chase or a Higgins or, any pass catcher not named Kelsey on the Chiefs?
The Chiefs alone, the one guy I would like, but I need to get confirmation on his health, is Juju. Juju is starting to come around. They're getting him a lot of targets. He's the guy I would want to target. He's sick right now. I would assume he'll get healthy. Definitely something you want to look back and confirm. But if Juju plays it healthy, he's the guy. They look at him the most for target. So that would be the one that I'd look to target for sure.
All right, let's get into this DraftCast. We'll also do Dave, you want to see them?
Yeah, let me just we got one guy checking in. I don't think it's the real Michael Jordan, but MJ23. Real quick, rate your lineup. Listen, I like where you're building in that Kansas City game. I just think from my perspective, with Chase back, I'm probably off Hurst this week. I'd rather get a little different there. I like Conklin. Maybe if you could throw him in there. You saw what the Vikings did against Henry last week. Conklin's 500 cheaper. So might try and just get a little different in your tight end spot, but I don't hate where you're headed. Mixing a run game with a defense. So I think it's a decent lineup for sure.
You're just upset because he took Henry and the Titans against the Eagles. That's why you're upset about it.
There's no upset. I'm giving him props. I just don't know about the tight end. That's for me this week. I'm not sure where I'd go there. I think
rest of the pieces look good. I think Watson, if Rodgers plays, Watson's in play. Pierce is going to be under-owned here. If he does bounce back, he's their entire offense. So don't hate the play at all. Keep asking questions and definitely hop in our expert chat at windailysports.com. We'll answer all those questions as well. But let's get to the DraftCast here. I don't know who goes first. I don't know. I think it's Dave's time. I think we're supposed to actually chug a beer, Joe, but I don't have a beer by me, so we're gonna have to delay it to the next one. But Dave, you got the decision here.
You
man.
are correct. I did take.
You want to go with the first pick? Do you want to give
3.
up the picks? How do you want to do this?
I'm going to 3. I'm going to go sit back. Go to 3, and then I'm going to let Joel, you lead off. Let's put Jason in the middle so we don't make him, pick back to back.
Okay.
All right, I'll lead up. I'm happy to lead off because, Dave, I'm going to take your boy with the first pick. I think it's revenge week coming into a great matchup. Give me A.J. Brown.
Yeah. He's ready.
He gives you the first pick, and you take his favorite play of the slate. Probably it's real nice of you, Joe. Real nice of you. I'm gonna go value. I'm gonna go value at the quarterback position, and anytime I get to target the Detroit Lions defense, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So Trevor Lawrence, not a fan of the guy personally. He's gotten better. The weapons around him have been playing better as well. And, just the way I see it is you're going to need some value on this slate. You get to go against one of the worst defenses in a dome. I'll take Trevor Lawrence, 5,900.
All right. I didn't see that coming, but I don't disagree with it, especially against that team. That's going to be one that probably goes a little under the radar and a good ownership for your lineup there. All right. Well, I said it earlier. I'm going to stick with it. I just think it's Chubb week. So I'm going to go with Nick Chubb at running back. Just try and play something safe, like you always say, Jay. I don't have to beat 300,000 people. I just got to beat 2. So I'll start with Chubb in a really good game environment. And I'm going to go back to what you guys said earlier. And I think it's real. I think the Jets passing game will be on show this week. But I'm going to go with Elijah Moore. He was their best receiver last year and then just got buried. And now we saw him come back out. And at 3,700, I think I get good value there.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in. I like those plays. The value is definitely there. I'm going to stay in this Jacksonville-Detroit game. I'm going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm just worried that you guys are going to scoop him pretty soon. 7,100. Dude just getting double-digit targets every single week. Probably's got one of the safest floors, as far as the way I look at it. 7,100. He's probably going to get you 15 points on a bad game, 30 points in a great game. Average game for him is around 20 right now. So give me Amon-Ra, 7,100.
Good pick.
I like it. For my picks here, I'm going to go value. I really like the strategy of taking value running backs where I can pay up for my priority receiver. So I'm going to start with Pacheco here in the great game environment, getting, when he's getting north of 20 carries in this game with this many scores. I really like his opportunity to break the slate. And I'm also going to take Brian Robinson. Many men Again, the Giants, the way you attack them is on the ground. He's starting to really take over more of the carries here. Again, another guy in this 5K range that I think does have as much upside as some of these upper tier backs.
Okay.
And he's catching the ball now. Like the catch like that. That's the Antonio Gibson part. If he gets catches, he's gonna be really good. So good pick.
He's got that big hat. That's all he needs, man. That big
I'm
hat.
getting one.
Are you really getting one?
No.
I was about to say, man, if you get one for the next show, we might hit an all-time high in views right there just for that. But I'm gonna complete my stack here. I'm gonna go with Zay Jones, 4,900. It's too cheap to pass up. I know he's questionable right now. It's Wednesday. I can definitely pivot off him, but I'm not saying he's the number one receiver for the Jags, but at 4,900, double-digit targets the last 2 games. There's been other games where he's got double-digit targets as well. So you get me that at 4,900. I'll take that any day of the week. Complete my stack here for my Jacksonville Detroit game stack.
Nice. Yeah, he was a monster last week, and he has been, really under the radar, but playing well. All right, I'm going to go with a name that we didn't talk about, and it was kind of for a reason. I was hoping he might slide here. I'm going to take Zonovan Knight of the New York Jets. I liked what I saw out of the kid. First time he got action in this backfield. Like you said, Jay, you don't know what Michael Carter's going to do. I think we know he's not going to play. Do they really rely on James Robinson or some of the other pieces that they've – I don't know. He had a big game last week, 13.3 DK points out of nowhere. He had, 3 receptions out of the backfield. So I like the value there. And then I think I am going to dive into this KC game, and I'm just trying to decide. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'll flip him out if he is hurt, but I'm going to go Jamar Chase. I think he comes back strong. I think he's ready to go. I think he could have played last week, so this extra week off I think really helps him.
Yeah, you love the Jets. I kind of like the one Jet you didn't take. I'll go with Wilson. I think he is still the number 1 wide receiver for this team. Minnesota is a team that, can score points, but their defense is pretty suspect as well. 5,300, I think you get a lot of value. And, the kid Mike White, he's not going to throw for 300 yards again or 400 yards, whatever the hell he threw for last week. But, again, in a dome, don't got to worry about weather. And this dude's been finding the end zone. He's been breaking long catches too. So Wilson, 5,300, very safe. I'm pretty much getting wide receiver ones at a discount here, and I'll keep on locking them up.
I like it.
Disappointed. I wanted Wilson here with my next pick, so I do like the pick. Hoping it was going to fall to me, but I can pivot here. For my first of 2, I'm going to start with Kelsey. I think this is just too good a spot for him. I actually think he should be in the 8K range. So to get him still in the 7K range, I feel like is a good value. And I'm going to stick with this game and get my shares. I'll go with T. Higgins on the other side as well.
Okay. All right. It's not because this guy ran for 229 last week, but it's the matchup. The rushing defense for these Chargers is just bad, man. They're letting up 151 yards a game. And this is a situation where Josh Jacobs is the back. He was limited on Wednesday, but I just think it's because he's been a workhorse all year, so just giving him a break a little bit. But, the first game of the season, he really didn't do much against them. It's a different Josh Jacobs. It's a different Raiders team. I don't like some of the value at running back. You guys took the good one so far. So I love the Pachenko call as a guy that I was looking at. Knight is definitely in play if Michael Carter does not play. He's too cheap to pass up at 4,600 in a good matchup here. But I'll go with Josh Jacobs. I went value at the wide receiver, so I'm going to pay up on my running backs.
Love it. I'm big Josh Jacobs guy all year. It's just the formula is if he gets 20 touches, they win. I mean, I think they're 4-2 when he does that, and they're 0-5 when he doesn't. So it's simple, but it's simple enough that they're starting to adapt to it. So good pick. And you're right, James Conner shredded those Chargers last week. I'm torn which Chargers receiver I'm going to go with, but I just didn't see a lot of separation from Keenan Allen last week. I know he got a touchdown. I just feel like it could be more of the Josh Palmer game this week. He did face the Raiders earlier this year, only had 3 catches, but and Keenan Allen in that game actually did pretty good. He had 4, but I'll go Josh Palmer. I get a little cheaper and maybe get a similar output. So 5,600. plug him in. And I guess that's setting us up for another run back here in this game. And I think, I'm going to go Moreau. I'd like a bunch. No, you know what? Yeah, I am. I almost went the Jets tight end, but I had too many of them. So
You love the Jets this week, huh?
Oh, versus the 32nd ranked defense. Yeah, I do, but I'll go Foster Moreau. He's been getting some good target shares, so 3,600. Let me get Moreau.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some value. Joel mentioned a couple value defenses that he liked. Pittsburgh turned a corner here, man. It's Tomlin, it's the pressure, it's Watt back. Matt Ryan is a bozo. That was like the worst last 2 minutes of a game that I've seen in quite some time. Like, why wouldn't you use a timeout anywhere throughout that last drive? It was just asinine. Like, it made absolutely no sense. And Matt Ryan could have like ran for a first down there too. Like, he just stumbled like before the first down and they ran the ball. It was like, what did you just do? How stupid do you got to be? But I guess it's the NFL. So Steelers defense, 2,600. I need some value here. There's a couple other defenses that are there, but Atlanta's going to play a slow-paced game here. I know they've been playing tough, but give me the Pittsburgh defense to get to Mariota, 2,600.
Nice.
I do like it. I'm making a last-minute swap that I think is going to be able to work. I'm just confirming some prices here. I can, but it's going to really cut. Nah, we're not going to do it. All right. Maybe. Actually, okay. All right, we're making a swap. I'm going a little rogue. I actually was going to agree with you in the Conklin call that Jets said he didn't make my switch. But I think, again, I said it's rivalry week. He used to play for the Vikings too, so a little extra motivation for him there. But unfortunately, with my switch, I decided I'm going to go with first George Kittle, who I just think this game has the potential to be a lot more explosive for a 49ers team against the Dolphins team that's been one of the worst in the league against tight ends. And then I'm going to pair Kittle with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm going to go ahead and put the quarterback there. I actually originally was going to go with Mike White, but then when you guys stole Brown and Moore, I was like,
every Jets player possible.
Yes, I was like,
come on, leave it for me.
So I like this. Like, I think this can be a really explosive game. This is going to be a really fun matchup. I think this is a good spot for Garoppolo to shine.
No, I think I'm with you on that, man. I think they're gonna have to pass the ball a bit here. I do like Conklin too, man. I can steal Conklin from our guy. Actually, no, you guys already picked tight ends. Conklin's in a good spot. Like, if I didn't take Wilson, I would take Conklin. He's just too cheap at 3,100. I kind of want to go with Evan Ingram, but it's just there's so much inconsistency with Ingram here. So I'm going to pay up here just to beat you two guys, so not to chug no beers on the following week. I'm going to go Freiermuth, 4,300. Pickens was dropping some balls last week. I think they go back to Freiermuth here. Got double-digit targets against Cincinnati, 7, 7, and 9 prior to that. So Pickett's got to get this guy the ball some more. I know there's more flash with Pickens here, but Freiermuth is a trusted guy here. So give me Freiermuth, 4,300. Leaves me with a bunch of money to go pay up a running back and get another stud here coming up next.
I like it, and I agree, man. A lot of drops, a lot of simple drops, like, just not.
He was trying to make like tough catches to look cool, but like, why not just use your hands and catch the ball? It's weird.
But I did like that he did the Cristiano Ronaldo when he got his 2-point conversion. But hey, with that said, we'll pass on World Cup and we'll go to a world-class defense here. And I will take those Tennessee Titans. MJ23, we're both Eagles fans, but we know when you score that many points, the next week's a little bit tougher. And I think Tennessee will find a way to just bog down and slow down this team enough and make it an ugly game that they don't want to play in. Reminds me of the Colts game. And I think there's enough at 2,200 that I can at least get a few points here and not have to spend up on D this week. And I'm going to pair my quarterback with someone you mentioned earlier as well. And I already got Jamar Chase, Joey B. Let's smoke some cigars this week. 6,900 leaves me with a good amount, 7,500 to get my flex player.
Okay. This is a tough one for me. I'm looking at my second running back. I do like Eckler a bunch. I just don't know if I have enough salary to go back and get somebody cheap to pair him with. I'm looking here. I could go to like a double tight end stack, but I don't want to do that, for this show. So running back here, got to make a decision. You could take a shot on Dameon Pierce. I'm just worried about, him actually scoring a touchdown here. Montgomery is kind of interesting. He's still on the board here. You guys didn't take Montgomery.
No.
What's your thoughts on Montgomery here? Any love here for Montgomery?
Absolutely. I just watched Green Bay let up 1,000,000 yards. Yeah, absolutely. It's just I'd feel safer knowing that, Fields was there.
Fields is playing. Yeah. Do you guys think Fields is playing, or are you guys still up in the air on Fields?
I'm with Joel. I think he plays.
All right. Montgomery. One more thing. I want to check one more thing here. Yeah, let me go Montgomery. If ATN is like a complete 100%, I don't mind him there. I don't mind Joe Mixon either. Getting shares in that game. I think Mixon might be the safer play here to get some touchdowns against Kansas City. And if I had some more salary, I probably would go up to Eckler. You guys didn't mention McCaffrey though, Joel. Just talk about McCaffrey real quick before we take the next pick. Is this the week to go out there and play some Christian McCaffrey and pay up?
I like McCaffrey. I think it's a good week for him. I think he has a lot of opportunity. I just think it's hard to pay that much for him. And so, therefore, I probably won't be going there because I just think there's guys that have just as much upside that you can get for way cheaper. But I do think he could have a really good week. Just from a strategy standpoint, it's clear where you can find receivers in the high 7s and 8s that can get there. And I think I can find value running backs that can get closer to that point than McCaffrey can do with paying that much of my salary.
Gotcha. All right, man. Your pick, right?
Yep. So to round out my squad, I got to get super cheap to make this work. I had it all planned out with my jet stack that you guys stole from me. So I rearranged things, and I found a sleeper that I actually like. Going back to this Chiefs offense with Sky Moore. Clearly, he is risky. But listen, he's gotten 5 targets the last 2 weeks. He's been involved in a game. If this is the high-scoring game of the week, for him to catch a screen for 20 yards like we see these Chiefs do where they rotate receivers in, I think that's more than possible. To get Sky Moore at 3,100 is just really cheap in this game environment. So, again, it's a risky one, but I think there's enough upside to take that chance. And I'll pair him with the what I mentioned earlier, the Rams defense. At 2,300, almost the minimum price defense. They have enough playmakers on defense to make at least a play here or there and pay off that price tag.
Yeah, I'll take a chance here. I don't really want to target McLaurin against the Giants. I just think the Giants defense is a little bit better than people give them credit for. I would like to have Palmer in this lineup, but I believe Dave already took Palmer here. So it leaves me in a kind of a weird spot here where I'm not in the zone I really want to be. Trying to decide between sick Juju Smith-Schuster here and a potential, shootout against Cincinnati, or go with Christian Watson, which I think guy's been out there doing his thing in the last couple of weeks. But I'll take a chance on Juju. I think there's a little bit more upside with Juju in this matchup if Cincinnati can play this game close. And then I'll put it out there right now. If Juju doesn't play due to illness, I'll slide down to Pickens in this lineup. Watson in this lineup, and I'll have a little bit extra salary left over.
All right. I think we've covered everything in the Cincinnati Chiefs game. So it got me to a point where I'm sitting in a good spot. I have 2 players I really like with 7,500 left. Do I go attack this San Fran game that we all think is a good game environment, or do I do a run back with my Jets and go with Dalvin Cook? And I'm torn here. I really like the run back here. I know the Jets are a good defense, but they're 12th against running back, so it's not like you should be overly scared. You should be overly scared of their passing defense with Sauce Gardner and the gang. But I am going to go Jalen Waddle. I think, in this point, they're going to have to pass to score. And I'm going to take a chance that Waddle's going to be the guy that gets a little bit more man coverage singled up. So I'll take Waddle to round out my lineup.
All right, Joel, since we owe this guy a chug of a beer, do we want to, since we had the Thanksgiving break, we couldn't do it on the last show, do we want to double down our bet? Do we want to double down? So we owe him a chug of a beer. Do we have to go to like chug 2 beers, or how do we do this, Joe? How do we win our money back here against this guy, Dave?
Shots.
Is that
We have
legal?
to upgrade. What's the call?
Is that legal to do a shot?
I don't know, man. You got the call, man. You got to tell us what we're betting for this week.
Yeah,
We
shots.
owe him a chug.
Yep.
So what are we doing? We're going to shot. We're upgrading it to a shot.
We're upgrading. All right.
And
here's my
so
one
if-
request. We got to do it right at the beginning, just so if we can get a little,
what happens if one of us win and you lose? Now, do you owe us a chug?
Oh man, what am I doubling down? How
Yeah,
am
'cause we're
how do I
doubling-
end up the loser?
All right. So if one of us wins, you're back to even. That person's back to even, and the other person would have to take a shot then. So basically, either me and Joel taking a shot, or that's it, right? So
or you're even.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, so you can't lose. So you're sitting back either watching us chug a beer or a shot. I got it.
We got a lot of good comments in the forum, asking about what if McKinnon is out.
All right, man. Let's talk it up here. If McKinnon's out, there's still some options here. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't really much on my radar anyway, so I guess that bumps up. I mean, we're talking Jerick McKinnon, right?
Yeah, I would assume so.
I guess that bumps up Pacheco a little bit. I mean, we saw the volume last week, 70+% of the snaps. So I guess it would make me fall in love more with Pacheco. I'm a little more off Pacheco than you guys are, only because what the Bengals showed me against Derrick Henry last week. So I think this is a 400-yard Mahomes game, but he can still get his points. I'm not in the 5,000 range. I think it's a great number.
Yeah, I think Pickens does have some upside as well in this matchup going against Atlanta. Definitely a good spot. Looking at wide receivers, this is our lineup optimizer, WinDailySports.com. I was lucky enough to get probably 3 of the top 5 values as of right now on a Wednesday night. Zay Jones, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins. Thank you, Nico. I had his over prop at like 42.5. He did absolutely nothing till the fourth quarter and somehow got like 43 receiving yards right on the nose. So
Jay, I thought he was hurt. It was a point, like he got 2 catches in the first quarter. I was like, we're rolling. And then nothing for 2.5 quarters. I was like, what happened? And I had
got lucky there.
Yeah.
Got lucky there. Cortland Sutton, I just can't really back any Broncos receivers right now. Kind of makes sense. T. Higgins still popping. Just want to get your thoughts, Joe. Keenan Allen, Palmer, in a good matchup against the Raiders. Do you like one over the other? I had pretty much this question on Sunday. I ended up going with both of them in a Herbert stack. Ended up cashing my big tournament. But, what's your thoughts here?
Just a great matchup. I like them both. I mean, I think you just want to get exposed to that passing game. The one I would prefer is Allen. He's the go-to guy. He's the one I think has the explosive upside. I'd go to Allen first, but I wouldn't shy away from Palmer at all.
Yeah, and talking about the top plays in the entire slate, Tyreek, if you can get there, man, I think I have him over Justin Jefferson. Got him slightly over Devontae Adams. I like both of them, though. Like Tyreek, Adams, they're both going to need to score in this game to keep pace against their opponents here. The Chargers can score. The Niners can score. So they're both in a great spot. Amon-Ra, just, DraftKings mispriced him to my knowledge, man. 7,100, too cheap for him. T. Higgins, there's been a lot of talk among sharp people. T. Higgins, even if Chase is healthy, some people think T. Higgins is the number 1 receiver here. So you're still getting a nice discount here. Dave, if Chase plays, man, you're still on the Higgins side here?
Oh, I love Higgins. Higgins is 1B. I'll play Higgins any week, even if Chase plays. And in this kind of environment, absolutely 1,000% love Higgins. I'm probably kicking myself that I took Chase over him, but I just feel like he wants to come out with on fire. But I love Higgins. I think he's in play almost any week, and this week he's going to be good.
Joel, thoughts on Seattle real quick. If you go to Seattle for a receiver, is it DK Metcalf or is it Tyler Lockett?
My preference of the two is Lockett. probably, but I really don't love either this week. And I will add, Rams has gotten burnt a few times this year, so I wouldn't be afraid I wouldn't shy away from that matchup.
Yeah. And
Let me
any
add
love
this.
for go Dave?
Yeah. One other interesting one you could throw in here, and this is great. I know it's not under 46, but if Mixon is hurt, keep an eye on P. Ryan this week. I think he also, as a backup running back could be big. But yeah, Zonovan for sure, Abdullah for sure. Yeah, very interesting this week.
Dave, any thoughts on Amari Cooper in his mid-range, 6,400? Nobody likes to play this guy. Deshaun Watson is back in a dome in Houston. And then also McLaurin, kind of mispriced at 5,800, but the Giants' defense is good. Any love for those two guys? We didn't mention them much.
Yeah, I'd lean Terry a little bit more. I just think he's more the focal point of that offense. I know Cooper's been good, but you still got Chubb and you still got some other pieces there. Njoku made that great catch last week to tie the game in regulation. Like Cooper, I just would like to see what they're going to do with that passing game and what his rapport is with Watson before I'm comfortable. But I can see why people would go with him. He's been a steady force, but I like McLaurin better this week because I do think the Giants will be effective against the run.
Yeah, one of Sia's favorite guys, preseason that he was on. He's popped. He hasn't been consistent because of injuries and stuff like that. But ETN was a guy that I was looking at. If I get some healthy practice reports here and he's a full go, I think ETN is kind of sneaky. If they don't go off in the passing game and he's involved in the passing game, I think he's fairly priced at 6,400. I ended up going with Montgomery instead because I was going more with the pass attack here. I think both those guys are two good values. They're popping on an optimizer if you sort by point per dollar. Pierce is the guy, though. He still is a really good player. It's just the offense sucks so badly, but it is a good matchup against Cleveland. Joe, between these three guys, Montgomery, Pierce, ATN, how do you rate them as far as value goes?
I'm concerned about ETN's health and how much he'll be involved, but if he's full go, he's the one I want the most for sure. Out of that, I'm not a huge Montgomery fan. I don't sometimes see the explosion. He is, he can get featured, but I'm probably not really that interested outside of ETN.
All right, and then if you were sorting by projection, our optimizer currently has Eckler 1, Jacobs 2, Henry 3. Do you have it that way, and do you have all three of those guys ahead of McCaffrey?
Yeah, I just think for value purposes, it probably makes sense because let's not forget, San Fran doesn't want to give McCaffrey every carry. They like rotating other guys in. For him to be the price paid guy, he needs to get those 20 carries and 7 to 8 targets, which right now he's just not getting that volume. If healthy, Josh Jacobs is my favorite play. This Chargers matchup has been really poor on the ground. They got to feed him the ball. And then Eckler, gets so many touches. It makes a lot of sense of what should be a really good game environment as well.
Yeah, I'm going to look, I'm just going to put it out there right now. I'm going to look to see what McCaffrey's – I think this is a McCaffrey game. I think Miami can get gashed here. If I'm not playing him in DFS, I might look to him in the prop market, rushing and receiving. I think Miami can score with them, man. Miami can definitely score on them if Tua stays healthy in this game and they protect this dude. I'm going to look at that. But real quick, Dave, before we head out of here, quarterbacks, if you had all the money in the world and you weren't loading up on jet stacks, who would be your quarterback of choice? As you can see here, Jalen Hurts, surprising to me, he's number one ahead of Mahomes here because Cincinnati's defense has been good against the quarterback. They're ranked third on our models here. Jackson, number 3. Herbert, number 4. But if you had all the money in the world, are you going to Hurts over Mahomes and Lamar Jackson?
No, I'm going Mahomes. I think it's a game. It's a revenge game. And I think it's when there's revenge, when there's blood in the water, I think, the great white is going to eat. And I just think Mahomes has some bills to pay. So I really like Mahomes this week.
He's got no bills to pay, bro. He's got no bills. He's got millions. He's got the baby narrative.
Yeah.
And he's got tons of money, man. I don't think he's paying no bills, man.
He's got some checks to write then. I'm saying he has to beat Cincinnati after what they did to them in the playoffs last year. So I do lean Mahomes. I'm telling you, Fields is my number 2 this week. I just think he's got to play, obviously, but that Green Bay defense is so awful, and there's no fixing it with 5 weeks, 6 weeks left in the season. So I would like Fields, and then Jalen probably rounds out about third for me.
Yeah, and to answer this question, what I do, real simply, is I'm looking at a couple different things when I hop on the optimizer or a projection model. Right now, I'm showcasing our optimizer at WinDailySports.com. I sort by value. It really is depending on position, but I like to see the value. Obviously, I'm doing my own research. I'm reading articles, stuff like that. But sorting by value definitely sees where I'm at. And I focus that more on the running back position, the wide receiver position, and then quarterbacks, because quarterbacks, I just want my best stack, my best environment. But the other things I sort by, obviously, is raw projection, see which ones are projected to score the most points. I also want to see ownership here. So projected ownership, it will change a lot, going into Sunday. It's only Wednesday right now. But right now, Herbert is coming in as the top-owned quarterback. He's going against one of the worst-ranked defenses here, and he's still 7,200. Tua, 6,700, becoming more popular here as well. And then Mahomes is the most popular of the more expensive guys. But you'll see it more, at the running back position. You get guys 20% owned like Jacobs and Eckler and Wilson even, which is kind of surprising to me, Wilson. But this will change a bunch throughout the week. So just keep an eye on ownership when you're playing cash games and you're playing GPPs to bounce around. But I like to sort by projection, sort by point per dollar, and I always keep an eye out on defense versus position to kind of see how good is this matchup and what am I paying? That's how I kind of break it down. Joe, real quick, tight ends, you're paying up. You're going Kelsey, I would assume, over Mark Andrews here. But if you're not paying up, who do you go to first?
I think this is a really good spot this week for Kittle. Maybe he's been one of the worst teams in the league covering tight ends. They're going to probably have to go to the air a bit. And, it's him, Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel. But, Kittle does have those big weeks. It feels like this is the spot where he's looking to break out, where they might lean on the air game a little bit more. If I'm not going with Kelsey or Kittle, I might look at Hawkinson in a jet stack. If I'm playing some of these Jets guys, maybe my run back is Hawkinson there with the Vikings team, on the Viking side. And then if not, I want to go cheap. And, like we said, we mentioned Conklin, who's one of my favorite cheap tight ends. I like Dolkick, who's been involved as a catcher in that offense. Dave mentioned Foster Moreau, whose targets have been on the uptick. So all those guys are definitely in play this week.
All right, that pretty much wraps up our show. I hope everybody has a great week 13, Thursday night football. Are we betting the Bills, or is that too much of a public play?
No.
Dave, you're the sharpest guy in here. Too publicly, are the Bills broken at all? Does Bill, come back and kind of stick it to him here? And last question for you guys: did you guys hear Brady say there's a chance I go back to New England? Like, come on, man! Like, why would you ever go back after that long? Like, you're gonna go back to New England now? That just makes absolutely no sense to me.
No, I agree. It is not. It will be, somewhat of a public play to go with, the Bills tomorrow. But I'm not against it at all. I think you're on to something. They owned. Don't forget how bad they beat down the Patriots last year in the playoffs. I think they have a good formula. They have a good rush defense that can slow down anything that New England wants to do. New England just lost by 7 to Minnesota, and now you're telling me. And I like Buffalo a little bit better. But for Ed, yeah, you're asking about the sunglasses, so I'll give him those looks on the way out there. We'll get a big hat. If Brian Robinson lights it up one of these days again, I'm getting a big hat. Let's put it down.
Yeah, if we keep losing to Dave, we're gonna be either like taking like 17 shots by like week 18, or we just buy him a big hat as our payback. So maybe we'll get him a Christmas big hat if he keeps on beating us down in these games. Joe, I'll ask you one last question before we get out of here. Millie Maker stack. Who is it? Who's going to be taking down the Millie Maker?
My first instinct says the Bengals because of that game environment, but that's probably going to be pretty popular. So maybe I'll do something different. I'll go back to the well with Mike White and the Jets.
How many Jets is too many Jets? Is it 2 Jets, 3 Jets, 4 Jets?
4 Jets. I'm going to say 3 Jets is okay, especially because you can go with a cheap Conklin, pair him with a Garrett Wilson or Elijah Moore and Mike White. You're super cheap. Get all the explosive big price guys around with them. I love going that route.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a Trevor Lawrence, Amon Ra, Zay Jones stack. Maybe throw an ATN. If I don't go that direction, I do like that game. A little bit worried. I don't know why. I'm a little bit worried about Mahomes and Bengals. I'll probably say that the second best game stack is going to be the Raiders game against the Chargers. So like a Herbert to one of the pass catchers, Palmer, maybe Eckler, Keenan Allen, running it back with Josh Jacobs or Devontae Adams. I like that game just for the simple fact, like I know a lot of where the targets are going, at least on the Raiders side. And on the Chargers side, probably the safest play would be Austin Eckler if you're not going with Herbert here. Herbert is priced right. He didn't have that high upside game the last couple games, but hopefully he comes against the Raiders. They need to win. Raiders need to win. Tough matchup, both sides, but I like that game if it's not the Detroit game. We're pretty much out of here, though. We'll be back. You guys got your college football. Is college football still a thing? Is it still going, or?
Yeah, we'll pop this week because it's championship week. So we're gonna have a smaller slate this week, but yeah, for sure we'll have some ability to really like it feel like a Thanksgiving slate in a way for college football.
I kind of want to play that, man. Maybe
Joe,
can I throw you like a couple dollars and just get like a share of the main lineups and get some action? Because I'm not allowed to play in New York for whatever dumb reason that is. But good luck to your games on Friday. Good luck in the golf game tomorrow when you guys lock it up. And then, Sunday morning we'll have a live stream. Hop in our expert chat at windailysports.com. Use promo code WINBIG. Get access to projection models, lineup optimizers, all that kind of good stuff. And we're here to answer questions. Hit us up on Twitter. We're there for you there as well. We're out of here. Good luck on week 13.